Welcome to episode 32 of today's Candor. I'm your host, Barika. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to tune in. In this episode, I'm discussing the importance of loving people in the way that they need to be loved in their love language, and not the way that you think they need to be loved. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. The importance of loving someone in their love language, whether that is a significant other, a spouse, a parent, siblings, your friends, whatever, whoever it may be. It's important. It's important to that person. And if you love that person enough, you care for that person enough, it's important for you. It will be important for you to say, hey, I realize that this person needs these things. They require these things. They desire these particular things. And so more often than not, and whether it's whatever the reasons are, whether it's the person doesn't know any better, whether they don't really care to love someone in their love language, whether it's a combination of the two, whatever the case may be, it's unnecessary. Let's put it that way. It's unnecessary. It's hurtful when you don't pay attention to those things. It's disappointing to the other person. So let's just talk a little bit about why this is so important. And if this is not already something that you are implementing, or if you are the person that you feel like your love language is not being respected and acknowledged and things of that nature. So let's talk about both sides of this. So loving someone in their love language is you are paying attention to their requirements, their wants, their needs, their desires. You're paying attention to it, whether they are verbally telling you, whether it's stuff that you are observing, obviously a combination of both. But it's important to say, hey, I see that you need these things. I see that when I do X, it makes you feel great. I see that when I do this thing, it makes you're in a great mood. You're in a great headspace. Your heart isn't so heavy when you're around me because I'm tending to your love language. And so you have to be able to pay attention and acknowledge that for a person. Because honestly, and I'll just speak for myself, and I'll just speak from, like I said, no matter what the type of relationship is, it's a complete turnoff for me when somebody just completely disrespects what I want or need. And however you phrase it, whether you want to call it the love language, whether you want to call it your wants and needs, your desires, at the end of the day, not taking the time, the respect, and not being mindful and thoughtful and saying, this is what I see and hear this person wants, and it's important for me to make them happy. It's important for me to know that I love them enough. I care enough. I care enough about our bond, whatever that bond may be. When you respect and acknowledge what someone wants and needs, it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes in so many different ways. One, the fact that you are respecting it. You're a respectful person. You care enough. You love me enough. And you're showing me that what we have is important enough for you to say, I want this person to know I see and hear and observe what it is that they need from me. I hear their heart speaking to me. And so let's do this. Let's start off with let's look ourselves, be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, am I taking the time to acknowledge and respect those around me, their love language, their wants, what they need? Be able to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you really doing that for the people that you care about in your world? And even if you don't want to sit and like list out or think about every single person, like let's just go with a significant other or a spouse. Let's just take that. Let's take a relationship, right? Evaluate, are you doing enough to respect that person's love language? And we think that for some reason this is not very important. It is. Because when I know that someone is really paying attention to what I want and need, the reason I say that speaks volumes is because it's so much more than just that surface level of saying, okay, like, yeah, this person's paying attention to me. Like that should be a given. I'm sorry. So many times have I heard, and more often than not, people are trying to give out kudos for things that, hello, these are things that people are supposed to be doing. Like, what is it, folks? I'm not sitting here and trying to give you a golden star like you're 5 because what? You were respectful, you're supposed to be. What? You see the things that make me happy. Like, yes, I keep telling people there's a difference between being grateful, being appreciative, and then you're too over the top for things you're supposed to be getting. I'm a very grateful person. I'm a very appreciative person. But for the things that are supposed to be a given in relationships, like respect, support, love, just being caring and kind, I'm not about to sit here and do backflips because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Am I going to be appreciative of it? Absolutely. Am I going to act like you just went to the moon and back for me? No, I'm not. Because at the end of the day, those are things you're supposed to do. You're supposed to respect people anyway, whether you are or are not in a relationship with them. So those things that are a given, appreciative, very appreciative of it. But sometimes people who have not had what they needed and what they wanted, they go above and beyond to show their gratefulness for things that they should just be getting anyway. That's a different conversation. I'm not going there today. But anywho, being able to see what a person needs from you, hear what a person needs from you and what they want, and you showing up for that person, that is love on another level. It just is. Someone being able to say, you know what, I want to do this for this person, not because they're begging me for it, not because they have to ask, but simply because I see that that's something that makes them happy. And I want my person to be happy. I want my person to be good in their space. I want them to know that they don't have to beg me for anything. Like, I'm listening to what they're saying they like or what they want or what makes them feel good. I'm observing how they move and maneuver, and I'm seeing what puts them in a good space. It really speaks volumes. It shows that other person, hey, they want to be here. That person wants to be here by choice, not force, because of love and all the things, all the beautiful things that come with it. And stand on that. Be able to say, you know what? These are the things that make me feel good. And these are my requirements. These are my needs. These are my wants in a relationship. Stand on that. Don't waver from it, because the right person will do just that for you. No begging, no asking 20 times, not having to have a million conversations about the same stupidity. Like, hello, how many times do you want me to mention it? Because at this juncture, it's not because you're not catching on. You just don't give a damn. And so I don't either. And that's just where we are. So for those of you, once again, being able to evaluate how you pay attention to others' love languages, being able to evaluate, are you really giving what you need to? When someone says, hey, this is what I like, are you really respecting that? Are you really acknowledging it? And so the flip side to that is, of course, the people who feel like their love language is not being acknowledged or respected or catered to. And for those of you who are feeling that way, that's why I just spoke about being able to say, all right, I'm not getting what I need. I'm not getting what I want. Whatever isn't being satisfied. And being able to have a conversation, though, with your person, because you all always hear me say, for those of you who have listened to my previous episodes, you all always hear me talk about how fundamental and key communication is. It is just, you have to have that. So being able to have a conversation with your person and saying, and like I said, you can take any relationship, but being able to just have a conversation with that person who you feel like is not acknowledging your love language, and being able to just say, hey, like, I'm feeling this way because XYZ, however you're going to word it, right? But being able to communicate that to the person so that they are, one, aware of it, because sometimes people just don't know. So let's try to go with the scenario of giving people the benefit of the doubt, giving them some grace, giving people grace and saying, you know what, this person might not really know how to handle the situation because maybe they didn't grow up with a lot of love. Maybe they grew up in an environment where what they wanted and needed just wasn't even a thing. It was just, hey, you're going to take what you can get. Maybe that person has been in, like, their previous relationships have just been trash. So it's almost like sometimes people who haven't had a loving, great, warm relationship, sometimes those people, it's almost like they can't get their mind to go the other way and say, hey, this is what I deserve. It's like they'll know it, but it's almost like they'll know it for everybody else. And they're just like, they can't get to that point themselves. And it's sad. It is. But we really try to help those people who have been in relationships that have just broken them down to the point where they don't really know or feel like they deserve the best. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody, you know? So going with the scenario of giving people the benefit of the doubt that they just don't know any better because they come from a place of pain. They come from a place of hurt. They don't come from love. And just being able to communicate with those type of people and say, you know, I understand that this is, you know, it has not been your norm, but let's try to work on making it your norm so that we can work through what's hindering our relationship. So there's a few key things here. Of course, the communication piece, because sometimes people just don't know. They're not aware of what they are doing. And even if they are aware of it, they might not understand or comprehend the impact of it all. So really being able to sit down, having those conversations to make sure that you and that person are on the same page as far as they are aware of how you are feeling, what they're doing to make you feel that way, and how to move forward from it. So communication, that next piece, just being able to say, okay, if they give you an answer that you're not loving, that they are not aware, and they're just like maybe oblivious to it, being able to just work through that with them and not just being like, screw all of this at the drop of a dime, because that's not helpful either, honestly. And that's also hurtful to the other person. So being aware, having conversations, communicating, but the other piece of that is like not over communicating to the point where you are begging for just very simple, basic things, because that's an absolute no-no. It breaks your self-esteem. It breaks your confidence. It makes you wonder, are you doing too much, asking for too much? And, you know, everybody's love language is different. What we want is different. But you cannot, a major part of this, a major takeaway from all of this and this type of these conversations that involve love language, a major takeaway is the fact that so many people think that they can love people or they're supposed to love people in the way that they know or that they think the person should be loved. And I'm just like, where do you even get that from? Like, this isn't rocket science. For me to go to someone and say, oh, well, this is what I know, and just, I think you should be loved this way. No, like, what the hell are we even talking about? Why would I even remotely think that I am supposed to deal with someone to think that, or love them the way that I think? Like, no. If I know that a person loves to cuddle and they're very affectionate and maybe like going out once a week is their thing, then these things should be happening. And nobody's talking about you have to go out once a week and blow all kinds of money. Just something simple. Like, really, most relationships don't work because people make them difficult. That's definitely going to be another episode. People make relationships difficult. And it's just like, what could you possibly be thinking? It's not that hard. One, people need to learn to sit down and talk. People need to understand that there's compromise and there's sacrifice. And if you're not willing to do communication, compromise, and sacrificing, guess what you need to do? You need to be alone. That's a different conversation. That will definitely be an episode. But there is no way that I would ever enter a relationship thinking that I am supposed to treat a person the way that I think. I think they should be loved this way, not what they are telling me they want, require, desire, need. It's insane to me. It's also insane for people to think that you should be able to read their minds just based off of their actions. No, sir, no, ma'am. You need to open your mouth and you need to be able to say, hey, even if you aren't the greatest communicator, you need to be able to say, yes, we know that actions speak louder than words. That's great. We know it. That's a given. We are taught that from childhood, but still just saying certain things, saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what we're doing. This is how we're moving forward. How do you feel about this? Like being able to be vocal. And I get that communication is not everybody's strong suit, but if you are with somebody, you have to open up, because it's a setup for failure if you're not going to. If you're not willing to cater to someone's love language, don't even bother. Like, it's that simple. And I know some of you all are probably saying it's not that simple, because what if I really like the person? You don't. To not cater to the person's love language or acknowledge it and respect it, you clearly don't like them that much. Because if you did, it would be easy for you to, it would be a no-brainer. It wouldn't even be any guesswork around, oh, what do I need to do for this person? What makes them feel good? What makes them feel happy? What makes them feel seen and heard? You can't like or love somebody so much that you're over here sitting in your little funky bubble talking about, I'm just gonna do what I want and I hope that is sufficient. No, we're not doing sufficient. We are making people feel good about themselves. We are loving people in the way that they need. We are letting people know that we are here for them. That's like, love language is not just, oh, I want to go get some ice cream. That's cute. It's great. And that might be a part or a piece of someone's love language, but really making someone feel seen, heard, loved, not dismissing their love language. When you dismiss somebody's love language, depending on who the person is, all hell might break loose, to be honest with you. Be able to let that person be open with you and say, hey, these are the things I need, and I would appreciate if they're respected. It's just not hard. It's not hard at all. Paying attention to what somebody wants, observing them, whether it's when you all are out and about, you're in the house, you're chilling, whatever. And then once again, even if not a relationship, but like, let's say it's a sibling, let's say it's a parent, like my mom, she really loves balloons. So like birthday, Mother's Day, all that, I always get her some balloons, or like the really humongous ones that don't deflate in 2 days. She loves balloons. I love balloons. I don't get her the balloons because I love them. I get her the balloons because she enjoys receiving them too. So let's say I didn't like balloons. Like, I'm a person like, hey, you don't have to get me balloons, but she still likes them. I'm absolutely doing it because it's for her. So if it's for her birthday, Mother's Day, whatever, that is a piece of a love language. I love cards, so I love balloons too, but I also love receiving cards. I love receiving them and I love giving cards. I love standing in Target, picking out a card that really fits somebody for whatever it is I'm giving it to them for. Birthday, Father's Day, whatever. Mother's Day. I love picking out cards and I love receiving them. And part of the giving the card to the person and it really fits them, it's just great for them, is I also love seeing people just feel good about what they're reading in their card. I love that. It makes me feel good. And once again, if I know someone likes something, like just knowing that, I'm going to do that. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. Like, and please do not misconstrue, do not try to twist catering to someone's love language and doing stuff that doesn't make you feel good. Please don't even try it. When I tell you people are always trying to mix up and flip and dip stuff, no. Catering to a love language is just what I explained. So somebody likes, maybe going out once a week, or they like going to a particular restaurant, or just whatever it is that they like. That's simple stuff. That's simple. Being able to do that for somebody and just see them happy and warm and fuzzy, that's light work, honestly. And I don't know. I just have a thing I love making people feel good. I love people being happy around me. It's just what I do. And it's natural. Some people say it's the nurturer in me. I know that I'm definitely a lot like my mom, and she's that way too. My mom likes to cater. She likes to give. She loves to love. It's who she is. And I love it about her. I do. But please do not misconstrue being there for someone, supporting their love language, and like doing stuff that you're not comfortable with. No. You all will be surprised. Yes, I've heard some foolery where people think they should mix the two up. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So once again, this is not about just relationships or marriage. This is about paying attention to just whoever your people are, loving your people in their individual love languages. Think about yourself. Like, just take yourself. How do you feel when somebody actually pays attention to and speaks to your love language? Think about how you feel when someone else does that. So don't you want your people to feel that way by saying, you know what? I know that I love when so and so does this. It makes me feel, fill in the blank. So if you love when someone is just really paying attention to what you need and want, it's like, why not do the same? Why not make someone else feel amazing? And it's just that simple. It's really just that simple. And love languages, they can be so simple. Like I said, as humans, we make things so difficult and wonder why things are just in an uproar. You can't be selfish. You shouldn't be selfish. It's an ugly trait for certain things, of course. Sometimes you have to be selfish if there's like something you're trying to do for you. But we're talking about you can't be selfish in a relationship or, like with your people. Love them, care for them, guide them. Sometimes that's a love language. Helping people through something, like something they have experienced for the first time and it's very difficult and they just need some support. Yeah. Love language is not just about being lovey-dovey and doing like certain things that a person says they may like. It's also just being able to say, you know what? This person needs this from me right now. Let me provide that. So I hope this episode was able to help just someone understand the importance, the value, the significance of respecting and acknowledging others' love languages. It is very important. It makes the other person feel important and loved and respected. And it makes them feel that you're pouring into them. And, vice versa. It makes someone feel like, hey, this person's really, they care how I feel. I cannot put enough emphasis on how much that speaks volumes. I know it does for me. And I love love, and I love being able to make other people feel, I want other people to know when I deal with them, no matter what the bond is, even if it's like we're not super tight, but you're still somebody that I care about, because nobody says I have to be, super close with you to care. Like, we just don't know how to care for the next human being. We don't know how to care for the next person and just say, you know what? Let me just be nice. Being nice. Just being nice. So I hope this episode helped someone. I hope it gave some insight. And I hope you all are loving your people in their love languages. I hope you all are catering to them, respecting them, loving them, acknowledging them. No, none of that being dismissive. If that's a trait you have, I beg of you to work on that. If that's a flaw that you have, I beg of you to work on that. Being dismissive of people and their feelings, it is so hurtful. It is very hurtful. It is something that I have experienced by the grace of God and my home training by my parents. I am not a dismissive person. I am so grateful for that. And experiencing that is not, it's not where it's at. So please don't do that to your people. Don't do it to anyone, honestly. But your people, take care of your people. Love your people. Respect them. Acknowledge them. So thank you, as always, for taking the time to tune in. Please continue to follow, like, and share. And until next time, you all stay safe and stay candid.